This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your heart and mind. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a brief rating and a written review? It will enable other excellent people like you to be able to locate this podcast. Well, it's been quite a year. I have no idea exactly when you'll be listening to this, but as I'm recording this, we have been several months into a worldwide pandemic. In the country that I live in, we've had a chaotic and controversial election season. The election is over. There's been all sorts of things. A lot of us have been thrown a lot of curveballs. We've had to recalibrate, do things differently. And I want to give you a warning and a promise, and that is on goal setting. Even if you had to forego some of the things that you were attempting to accomplish this year, I want you to know it's all right. Every once in a while, things don't work out. That's one of the main reasons we plan, is that you never know what you're going to face. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm reminded of a quote from years ago from Booker T. Washington, who said, "You measure the size of the accomplishment by the obstacles you've had to overcome to reach your goals." So I want to stop and celebrate with you today. There are some of you who have, in spite of all of the chaos and calamity that has been this year, you have been able to reach some milestones. You've been able to do some things that you've been trying to do, whether it's in the area of personal finance, spiritual, taking care of yourself, projects at work. Not only did you get it done, but you got it done in a year that has had as many distractions and as many difficulties as I can remember for a while. So I want to say kudos to you. I mean, I think everything that's happening this year, we have a tendency to treat ourselves a little more harshly than we really ought to. The fact that you were able to come close, or in fact, reach a goal, see something happen in your life, make some necessary and needed changes, rather than beating yourself up that you didn't do more, I think we should stop and just celebrate. I think there's celebration enough to say that we endured, that we survived, that we're still here, we're still kicking, we're still going, we're still moving. And so maybe you had to forego a few of the things that you were dreaming about, thinking about, tending to, and planning for this year. It's okay. But it's never too late to set a new goal. Now, you don't have to wait till the beginning of a new year. There's nothing wrong with having a November to November, December to December, March to March, 6 months ahead, whatever you want to do. It's never too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream, said C.S. Lewis. So right now, I think what we want to talk about is, what is it that you're going to set your mind on? Now, maybe you could look back over your list of things that you intended to do this year. And as we said, if you got them done, our hats are off to you. We're going to give you a standing ovation. We're going to give you an atta-girl, atta-boy. Marvelous job. But if you had to set some of them aside, and there are times when you're in survival mode, or you or your organization or your family is in a crisis mode, that you kind of have to steel your nerves, focus your attention on the matter at hand, and get through whatever it is you're facing at that time. And what that means is your goal, you didn't forego your goals. You had another goal that presented itself, another issue that presented itself that was of far superior importance, that you had to let go of some lesser things and really focus your undivided attention to the matter at hand. So it's okay. And it may be that you look back and you have a tendency, especially some of us have a tendency to think, because I was not able to accomplish what I had intended to do, what my intentions, I set my intentions, I had my plans all laid out, I was all ready to go, and then all of these other things pushed their way in, and it just seems like I failed to achieve the things I needed and wanted to achieve. Just understand that in all of life, some failure is inevitable. It's impossible to live without the unexpected coming up from time to time. It's impossible to live in a society where we control all the variables. That's impossible. It is impossible to live and have everything just go the way you and I wanted every moment of every day. That's impossible. So if that's the case, and it more than reality is, here's what I say to you, just 3 words. Never give up. Don't quit. It's too soon to quit. Let's stop and ask, what lessons have I learned? If one lesson I have learned is I've learned that I got to stay flexible. It's had kind of a counterintuitive effect on me, and that is I now see more than ever the absolute indispensable need to be a planner, to set goals, to have projects that I'm working on. Because on the days I'm able to move ahead, I can be reminded. There are days where certain things happen. Sometimes it's in our own personal or family life, or the place where we work. Sometimes, as has just happened in recent, it's national and international crises that happen that begin to take things away that you didn't know about, you didn't want to happen, but they nonetheless did. So we have to say, where are we going from here? What are your goals? I would say, first of all, look over the things that you intended to do last year. In light of all that has transpired, are these still valuable, important, and critical things for you, your family, your organization? I'm going to guess that there may be some that, in light of all that's happening, you may be able to say, I think I need to focus my attention moving forward on something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've heard me give podcasts before about mid-course corrections. You've heard me say that I have set goals knowing and going with the best information I had at that moment, and then a new opportunity presented itself, and I had to adjust them. Even the fact that I'm doing a podcast was not something I saw a long time ahead until, through a series of events, the opportunity presented itself. I had to weigh all the pros and cons. Do I need to put this on my plate? Do I need to make this one of the things that I'm going to work on? And by doing that, it meant I had to adjust some other things, because you only have so much time, energy, personal capital to expend on situations. So always be aware that whenever you're setting a goal, setting some things that you want to do, setting your intentions, that you're going with the best information you have at present. All things being equal, today this looks like the direction I need to be headed, but none of us can see everything that's going to happen on the horizon of our lives, or who we'll meet, what conversations we'll be involved with, what opportunities may and will present themselves to us. You don't know, we don't know. So we go not just sitting and doing nothing while we wait for these unseen opportunities. We work with due diligence on what we have intended to do. So one of the things that I'm going to remind you is, it's not only great to set a good goal, but you're going to have to set up some measurement systems. You're going to have to break them down into smaller, bite-sized, workable allotments of time. One of the largest ways where people get discouraged with the goal setting is when they put their task list together, they have something as simple as mail an envelope, a card to someone, and then lose 50 pounds. They also have retire debt-free, or whatever it may be. And when it's time for you to work on that on your task list, you are not sure what is the absolute next step I need to take. So the caution here is simply this: when you go ahead and set a goal, you need to know, what is the ultimate goal? How will I know when I get there? What do I believe today it will look like? It may look entirely different when I get there, but from my vantage point of today, which we all understand is somewhat limited, but what would it look like? And then what are the steps that are going to take me from being here where I am today to arriving on the doorstep of that goal? I think you'll need to bring some data. You might need to find a coach, a mentor, someone to advise you. You need to kind of break it down into its most simple, logical steps. What is your final step? How will you know when you get there? Then begin to work your way back. If this is an exercise that you've never engaged in, it is going to be like learning a foreign language in one day. It's going to be like going to the gym and exercising a set of muscles that you've not exercised in a long time. This is going to be in the category, and I don't have any way to sugarcoat it other than to say it's going to feel an awful lot like hard work, and there's a reason for that. But like all exercise regimens, like all kinds of plans that you make, you even stick with it when it's not comfortable and it's slightly difficult. But the reason you do this is so that each day as you're making, if you are a list maker, a to-do or a task list or an important action item, then the next action item could be go check out a book on the internet. Talk to Sally or Joe who have accomplished this that I want to accomplish. Schedule a 20-minute appointment with yourself on Thursday in which you will again begin to incorporate the steps into your life. That's why we get overwhelmed. That's why not a whole lot gets accomplished for a lot of folks is they put huge, large tasks on their to-do list. And in the middle of the day, when they have checked off some other things and they're now ready to work on this thing, it's not really a task, it's a project. And paralysis immediately sets in because usually in the midst of a day where a whole lot of other things are clamoring for my attention, it's hard for me to ascertain in that moment what exactly do I need to do now about that. If I'm going to the gym, then maybe the goal is tonight I'm going to stop and buy a pair of tennis shoes. Tomorrow I'm going to pack my bag and put it in my car. I'm going to sign up for a gym membership. These are small steps. I'm going to hire a personal trainer. I'm going to go for 20 minutes 3 times a week and then put those 3 times on your calendar. I'm not saying that's the steps. That's merely an example. But that is the kind of small, doable, measurable actions that you must put down in order to reach your goals. So set the goal. You have to kind of take it apart. You have to order the steps and the sequence, knowing that when you are here today and you're trying to move yourself out into an unknown future, there have been times that I have miscalculated the events in a sequence that they were going to happen. It's okay. You just stop and you kind of like move the blocks around. If that's not the next step, you at least have enough steps laid out that you can move them around and do the one that is actually the very next step. I would advise you not just to set goals that are corporate or work-related, even for those of you who are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs. Yes, you need to have some goals that are work-related without question. But I would also say to you, don't ignore the spiritual, don't ignore the intellectual and mental, being a lifelong learner. Please don't ignore your family. Some of you may just need to incorporate a goal that we're going to have a date night every week. Even if you're in quarantine, you're going to still have date night. You're going to plan a trip with your family. You're going to plan special sessions with... I'm not trying to be prescriptive and tell you how to do it. I'm just saying in the midst of all of that, do not forget your own personal goals. And when you do your to-do list, as you look at your goals, always make sure that you're doing some activity every day that is pushing you toward and you are reaching your goals. Just because goals didn't particularly work out in this pandemic year, this year of chaos and calamity, doesn't mean that goal setting doesn't work. It just means we had a major disruptive year. And I'd like to tell you that there'll never be another disruption in your life, but that is not true. So what I'm saying is, as you're winding all of this down, it's a good time to take out all the material, if you had some for this year, rework it to see, are there some things that I want to move forward? If you've never done this exercise before, there are all sorts of tools to help you, including several podcasts I've recorded. All you'd need to type in is goal setting, and you will find them there. What I'm saying to you is there's always going to be failure, there's always going to be setbacks, but it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means it's been a tough year. It's all right to say it really didn't work out as well as I did. And for those of you who were able to accomplish some significant things this year, I want you to know we're really proud of you and congratulations, and we'd love to hear from you. But let's shake ourselves out of the lethargy, out of the discouragement, and decide, what is it that I need to see happen in my life in all spheres over the next year, and let's make it happen. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your heart and mind, and wherever you receive podcasts from, you'll subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a rating and a brief written review. It will help other excellent people just like you to be able to locate this podcast. This is Dr. Ron saying to you, my friend, you are doing better than you think you are. Even in the midst of all of this, you really are doing better than you think you are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.